Good morning, everybody. We're live here from the birdhouse where in Western New York it is quite cold in the single digits this morning. So it is definitely winter time still, but that doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of cool birds out there. So, as always, we have an update here for you about the different birds people are seeing, including some of the more rare birds. Some of those winter finches are making an appearance again. So, that's pretty exciting. As always, we love to know what kind of things you're seeing. You can put your sightings in the comments, or if you want to just say hi, or if you've got questions, you can throw them in there too. Tomorrow is Squirrel Appreciation Day for those of you who had no idea, which is quite a big holiday here. Of course, we always get lots of squirrel questions. And as a celebration of Squirrel Appreciation Day, we do have all of our squirrel feeders on sale for 20% off through the end of the week, just as a little fun promotion for Squirrel Appreciation Day. So we've got that going on here. And actually, this weekend too is our jigsaw puzzle swap that we have every month. So that is going on all day Saturday and all day Sunday. We've got those events going on here. So not only that, but we are starting to schedule and announce some of our events for 2026. We have some of them on our website and our Facebook page already, including our first ever owl pellet dissection class, which is going to be going on during February break. We've got that scheduled, and you can buy tickets for it. It's a $5 reservation fee just for some supplies. You can sign up for that right on our website, which is thebirdhouseny.com. And we'll have some other things scheduled for that week as well when school is out. So some fun things that are good for kids and good for adults too. So keep an eye out for more events to be scheduled very, very soon. We are working on having a huge event list this year, including having more of our birding cruises, which have been popular with you guys. So we are busy planning for the year here, and it is an exciting time. So anyways, I will stop rambling and I will get to it. Some of the interesting birds people have been seeing recently. We talked earlier in the season, kind of maybe November-ish, or even before that, about winter finches and the winter finch forecast, and it was predicted to be a really good eruption year for finches in general, and we are starting to see some more of those eruptive birds, those birds that will come down south here for the winter time when food is more scarce in their natural range. So sometimes these birds, when they're looking for more food, they'll go further south than they normally would. And we're starting to see more of those birds. So things like pine grosbeak are showing up this time in Webster again. Last time they were showing up in Webster Park around the campground area. Over the past few days, they've been seen in Webster still, but at Whiting Road Nature Park on the Blue Trail, on the Blue Loop. So if you're trying to go find some of these eruptive birds, that is the place to go right now. Whiting Road Park out in Webster. Look for pine grosbeak. There's been some flocks of them seen. So not just one or two, but there's been a number of individuals, not only pine grosbeak, but also some evening grosbeak out there too. So this is what I would suggest as the place to go if you're looking for some of these winter visitors that don't show up every year. Now's the time to go, and it is at Whiting Road Nature Park, which is one of my favorite local parks. It's a great park for birds and butterflies in the summer. The butterflies there are great. So awesome park to go to. That's kind of the newest development. As of a week ago, there weren't any sightings of these birds in that area that I am aware of, and all of a sudden they're showing up. So really cool. And then another one of the winter eruptive birds that we talk about often because they do come to feeders and they can sometimes eat a lot of feeders are the redpoll. There's been some scattered sightings of redpoll, not anything huge, but there have been some seen. So keep an eye out at your Niger feeders. Keep those Niger feeders full because you just might happen to get some redpoll coming to the feeders. We've been talking about the birds being seen at Quaker Pond in the area at Mendon Ponds Park. The Quaker Pond Loop, Quaker Pond, and the Bird Pond have both been hosting birds like Virginia rail And then that American bittern also, both are still being seen at those ponds. So you still do have some opportunity to go out and see them. Not a common bird that you can find here in the winter, but for some reason the Virginia rails seem to like that Quaker Pond area. So it's been a really fun sighting this year. I know some of you guys have gone out to see both Virginia rail and the American bittern still being seen in that spot. And then snowy owl, same thing. Been seeing some scattered reports of snowy owl, and there's been at least one individual that's been seen at the Finger Lakes Airport still. So that bird is still being seen. You still have some time to go out and see it if you want to take a little drive. That snowy owl has been pretty reliable there. And there are definitely flocks of ducks out there if you can find unfrozen bodies of water, which right now might be a little difficult because it's so cold. But it's definitely an opportunity to go out and look for waterfowl this time of the year. Big flocks of ducks out there. There's been lots of redhead reported, big flocks of redhead. So now is a good time to go out and look for this duck, including many other species, including the long-tailed duck, which is a bird we find around here seasonally now in the winter months. This is a really beautiful winter species that we have here. So now is the time to go out, look for long-tailed duck. Any large bodies of water, you should find yourself some nice rafts of long-tailed duck. So also we've got the waxwings. We talk about cedar waxwings pretty often. They are here all year round. You can find flocks of them now if you are going to Whiting Road Park to look for those grosbeaks. Absolutely, you can look for cedar waxwings. They're pretty commonly found there. And when you find a flock, if you find a flock of the cedar waxwing, look for Bohemian waxwing, another seasonally a seasonal bird that sometimes comes down here. This is another one of those eruptive birds, and there have been some seen in the area. So keep an eye out for Bohemian waxwing. If you see a flock of birds, especially the cedar waxwings or even robins eating berries out of trees, do a nice scan and look for the Bohemian waxwing along with those cedar waxwings. It's more gray in color, a little bit larger, more of a pot belly kind of look to it, but they've been seen sporadically in the area too. Also mockingbird, there's been reports of mockingbirds in the area, which we do have in the wintertime. One of our staff members had one at her feeders over the weekend, so that's pretty fun. But northern mockingbird are here. In general, the mimics will go south for the winter, but the northern mockingbird they're a pretty hardy bird, and so we do have quite a few that are seen here in the winter time. Things like the brown thrasher and the gray catbird, not so much, but mockingbird have been around. They're not going to be loud like they are in the spring right now. They're pretty quiet. They're not singing their little hearts out like they do during mating season, but they have been seen. And then if you are going out birding and looking along fields for things like northern harrier and short-eared owls, which we've mentioned in the broadcast before, look for some of the other species that come down here for the winter time and that will form big flocks, things like snow bunting, which you can sometimes find a nice big flock of, especially if you're driving along, if you're going down to the Finger Lakes to look for that snowy owl, and if you're going down kind of side roads and back roads and you're passing lots of farm fields, that's a wonderful place to look for things like snow bunting. And in those flocks, sometimes you'll see things like Lapland longspur, which is another winter bird that we have down here, and horned lark, which are a really cool looking bird also. So even though it's the winter and it's cold and you might not want to spend a lot of time outdoors, you can still do some of this birding by car. So things like the horned lark and the snow buntings and the ducks even, you might be better off or best off with using a spotting scope if you have one for seeing some of these birds. Binoculars can get you so close, but spotting scopes will give you that extra push if something is really far out there. But that being said, there's lots of birds still out here in the wintertime. And in your backyards, some things to be on the lookout for, which are going to be more common in the winter, are things like dark-eyed junco, which is in the back of this photo here. They tend to feed off the ground, but if you have a nice open hopper feeder or a nice open, what this is called a fly-through feeder, which is a platform with a roof over it. If you have some kind of a wide open platform, they might feed on that. Otherwise, you might see them feeding on the ground, just like the cardinals here. Here's a female northern cardinal. They'll come to feeders, but they are often seen on the ground. Of course, chickadees are out and about too. But then there's the red-breasted nuthatch, which we tend to get more of in the winter months. They're coming to suet feeders. They're coming to peanut feeders, sunflower heart feeders. So they are more seasonally abundant in the winter. And then the purple finch. We have purple finch and house finch. The house finch is on the right-hand side here. It's got more stripes on it. But the purple finch, we get more often coming to feeders in the winter months, and they're a gorgeous bird that loves sunflower seed, safflower seed. So keep an eye out for them too at your feeders. So Happy New Year from all of us here at the Birdhouse. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I mentioned, we've got some events planned so far for the year, with more being announced. Look, even later on this week, we should have some more announced. We just announced Teddy the Snowy Owl will be back in February, along with a short-eared owl from Wild Wings. They'll be coming to the store, and we just have a nice full calendar of events that we're really excited to share with you. And also mark your calendars too, because in November, we have author Stan Tequila coming back into the area to do 2 different talks, and we'll announce those soon as well. So lots of stuff going on this year. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back on Saturday with another broadcast. And until then, have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.